Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here with Korea. Back on August 2nd. We had the first day of August yesterday, obviously. Some baseball, a smaller baseball slate, the Hall of Fame game. We'll get into a quick recap, Korea. One-on-one day for you. What did you take away from your two plays?
Yeah, obviously, first Guardians, that was pretty sweat free. They got to Trevor Rogers early. I thought that, I always kind of questioned, why they traded that much for Trevor Rogers. Maybe it's a development piece for them, but did not look impressive at all. I think he barely went 5 innings, gave him 5 runs. I was just more backing the Guardians at home. No matter what the matchup is, they do hit better against righties. So if anything, I like the over tonight for that game, obviously with Dean Kramer and Carlos Cookie Carrasco on the mound. Yesterday I was just backing the Guardians at home. Obviously, the Orioles bats didn't really show up. It was Guardians just got it. I think a 4 or 5 run lead and just never looked back. It was all Guardians all day, so that was a great winner for me. Marlins, obviously, that was a tough loss. They got out to their bats were quiet, obviously, throughout that first five. I thought they were going to be a little more competitive throughout the first five. It was actually more like the last four. That's where they became a lot more competitive. They only scored a couple more runs, but they did lose 4-2. So they played a lot more competitive in the back half. So that was a little bit interesting. I thought that the Marlins were actually going. I thought their bats were going to show up yesterday. Maybe they'll show up today. I'll also get into that in a little bit soon with one of my plays. But one-on-one day, I was happy. On a very, very short slate, I was happy to get at least one winner. With the Guardians being a sweat-free winner at pretty much at a pick-em price throughout the day. So that was a great winner there. Ari, Hall of Fame game, NFL, perfect undefeated record, right? 1-0. Here we go.
Yep, I'd like to announce my retirement. I'm ending 1-0. Texas first half minus a half. Started out, really good. First drive was a pretty clean touchdown drive led by Davis Mills to open the game, and then they got a stop. I want to say after that they got a field goal, went up 10-0, like late first. So I was feeling good there. Bears are driving the next drive, a fumble. There's literally five. Like that's how you know it's preseason. There's literally five Texans players on the ball. Like literally, like not even exaggerating. Like five Texans players on the ball and 0 Bears. And it's like a cartoon. Like it slips out under them basically, and the Bears recover. And of course, they scored a touchdown on that drive. So that obviously made it a little bit nervous. And then the Texans went 3-and-out right after that. So then they got really nervous, and then they forced a 3-and-out. And they scored a touchdown pass to Cam Akers, who was, once considered like a top 10 running back, now is playing behind J.J. Taylor, Arizona legend, and Dare Ogunbowale in the Hall of Fame game. So, I think he tore his Achilles twice, I want to say. So, sad to see. But for my bet, he scored a touchdown, so obviously I'll take that. And of course, they score a touchdown, go 7-7 with 2 minutes left. And then a minute later, the Bears answer right back and score a touchdown. And, at that point, there's 40 seconds left, but it was still you never know, like a fumble, a kick return or whatever, you never know. But, they won 17-14. And thank, goodness I bet the first half because the Bears scored right back in the second half. And the game ends early because of the lightning delay. And the Bears, I think DraftKings counts it as a win for the Bears in the loss because I know some places counts it as a push and some counts it as a win or loss. So, the Texans when they got to the late second quarter, or I guess really just the third quarter, it was really ugly when it was. Who was it? I mean, it wasn't Case Keenum. It was I think Jordan was like the last name of the quarterback in the third quarter, and their offense went literally nowhere. Good read for me on the first half, and obviously you'll take it.
I mean, yeah, yesterday's Hall of Fame game was one of the games of all time. Let's call it that. It was one of the games of all time for sure. I mean, you had the Texans almost blowing that first half lead. Obviously, they were up, significantly, and then you mentioned, the cartoonish fumble, where they all five Texans got, they can't get on the fumble, Bears recover it, or just the rain, whatever happened, whether or not, the fact that we just covered the first half, that was all we were targeting there, and that was a nice winner for you, obviously, to start the NFL season. Obviously, now we had to wait a whole another week until preseason play, but obviously now, the good thing is, every Thursday from now until, the end of the season, there will be football. So that is something great to see. So Thursdays, obviously, we're going to be targeting some football plays. So watch out for those every Thursday now. But obviously, a 2-1 day for the both of us. We're obviously going to continue that into the end of the week today, Friday. I got 3 plays today. Well, obviously, we had one game right now. I think it's still going on between the Cardinals and Cubs. And so now all the afternoon games starting soon. I got 3 picks for you. First, we're going to go back to the scene of crime yesterday with the Marlins and Braves. And I'm going to take that over 8.5. I got it for minus 130 earlier. I think that line has gone up to 9, and I saw it around even money earlier. I got it earlier at 8.5. I love this over here. Look, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. You have Valiante Belloso for the Marlins, and the man has Bozo in his name. He stinks. I mean, to be fair, last time he did give up, I think, 5 runs to the Red Sox. He didn't look that impressive, but that was the second start in the MLB. So, he has very, very minimal experience. He only has about, I think, 10 innings pitched, and obviously now going to Atlanta. But the thing about Atlanta is when you back their offense, they don't show up. So this is the kind of the bigger question here. So this is more backs against the wall kind of with the Rangers here. Can their offense finally show up here, against Valiante Belloso of all people? And then on the other side is Schwellenbach starting for the Braves. And, it was more of a play like yesterday. The Marlins, their offense started to get going later, as those, later innings came through, and, they got a couple runs across the board, in a very low scoring game, and kind of going back, the fact yesterday was a low scoring game, obviously a 4-2 ball game with the Braves winning. I'm more backing both offenses to finally show up. I saw Austin Riley, obviously, he had that homer to kind of, I think that was in the first inning. So the Braves offense showed up early, but they kind of fizzled out. And that was, kind of the opposite for the Marlins. Their offense didn't do anything. And then they got a couple runs, in the 7th, or I think it was at least past the 5th inning. So I'm just more backing both offenses to finally show up today. I saw between these two teams, I think 3 out of 4 games in the series, whether it's a 4-game or 2 out of 3, at least 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 in this series, they do go over, just because these two teams love to hit off of each other and they know each other very well. And I'm just more backing runs here in this spot, obviously. So I'm backing the Marlins Braves over 8.5 at minus 130 there. And then we're going to go to Texas here, and we're going to back the Red Sox first 5 money line here. We're getting it at minus 125. I don't know why it's there. I think it should be a lot higher. It should be maybe in the minus 150s, 60s, maybe in the 200s, because the Red Sox are top 5 in hitting against right-handed pitching. And you know who's starting for the Rangers, Ari? My favorite guy to fade, Jose Urania. Remember that guy? Yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, that guy stinks. Yeah, the Red Sox are going to have a field day against him. Take Rafael Devers over and hits bases, hits, runs, ribbies, well, whatever you want to call it. His lines are probably a 2.5. Look, I just think the Red Sox are going to come out here with an early lead. On the other side, it's Cutter Crawford. Look, the Rangers, I'm daring the Rangers offense to show up. Look, the Rangers offense is almost as bad as the Mariners offense right now. They can't do anything. They almost are that bad. Like, I'm daring the Rangers offense to show up. They can't hit righties and they can't hit lefties. They can't hit anyone. They seriously cannot hit anyone. And Cutter Crawford, he has some good splits against some of the guys in that Rangers lineup. I'm just more backing the Red Sox here through 5. I do like the Red Sox full game, so I know it's priced a little, I think, more close to a pick 'em. So if you do want the Red Sox full game there, and not even including the Rangers bullpen, which is always very interesting to say the least. I do like just the Red Sox through the first 5, just fading Jose Urania mostly. That was the guy I was more targeting in the spot for the fade. That guy stinks, as I always say. He is not a good pitcher. Once he mislocates, it's going to be game over for him. So I like the Red Sox through the first 5 money line here at minus 125. That's my second pick today. And then to round it out here, Going late night in Oakland, we're going to take the Dodgers and A's game over 8.5. I got it at minus 115 earlier. I mean, you talk about the A's and success, and those two things don't really go together. But last month, the A's are the best team in the American League in terms of record. And that is shocking to say, but it's true. The A's are hitting well. We talk about how they're hitting well at home, and that we talk about how they're hitting well at home against righties. Well, they're at home. They're facing Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone's a righty. The A's are going to hit the ball. On the other side, it's Joey Estes. And Joey Estes sucks. He stinks. So the Dodgers are going to hit the ball. So I don't really like a side, so I'm just going to take an over. You see, I'm also doing some line reading here. You see the Dodgers priced at about minus 160, minus 170 range. When you see a Dodgers and A's series, you would think, the Dodgers should be priced about minus 200 or more because it's such of a diverse gap in talent. But today, I think the books are saying that the A's maybe keep this game competitive because of how well they're hitting at home. With their guys, Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker, those two guys have been kind of leading the charge for them. So I'm just going to take the over here. I'm more backing runs here. I don't like backing runs with the Dodgers on Fridays because they usually just don't show up. I don't know what it is with Fridays with the Dodgers. Their offense usually just never shows up. But here, if they can't hit off of Joey Estes, I don't know who they're going to hit off of. So those are my 3 picks today. I'm going with the Marlins Braves over 8.5. I'm going with the Red Sox first 5 money line, and then the Dodgers and A's over 8.5 late night game out in Oakland to wrap it up. Those are my 3 picks today. Ari, what have you clicked up on this Friday?
Yep, 2 plays for me. We're on the same page with one of them. I'm on the Red Sox as well. I'm on them full game. You talked about Urania, and he's kind of, I guess, not like a full starter because he doesn't really go, 6-7 innings. I think his longest he's gone this season, or I guess he went 6 2/3 once, like in June, but the last 7, 8, 9 starts or whatever, he hasn't gone more than 4 1/3. So I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be stretched out, fully in this one, but I don't think it'll matter because, like you said, I think the Red Sox will get to him early. And the Red Sox bullpen is, somewhat shaky. They got some reinforcements at the trade deadline. I think that was Luis Garcia from the Angels, who should help them in the late innings. But I'm not worried enough about their bullpen to not worry about it, full game or whatever. I mean, Rangers bullpen as well is shaky, like you said last week at times, or I think you said whenever last week at times. So the Red Sox, they're better at home, but they're still hitting well as of late. And the Rangers, like you said, are just scuffling really the last week or two offensively. I like the Red Sox as well. And then going to the Mariners, I don't take them often. I pick my spots where I like to back them. And one of those spots is tonight, hosting the Phillies, going up against Tyler Phillips, who has been a Cy Young pitcher in his 4 starts since he joined the rotation. 4 starts, a 1.8 ERA, 25 innings, coming off a complete game shutout. Now coming to Seattle, where the Mariners are debuting their new look lineup, somewhat new look lineup, first time at home. And, since they made the trade for Randy Rosarena and Turner, they've been better, to say the least. Not that it took that much to be better than what they were before, obviously, but they've been better against better pitchers. There is some concern with Brian Wu and just him leading starts early, like almost every time it feels like. So there is some concern, but the Mariners bullpen, they were off yesterday, so the bullpen should be fully rested. So even if he goes 5 innings, I'm pretty confident in their bullpen in the last 3 or 4 innings, if that is the case. Phillies have been scuffling. I think they've lost, 6 of the last 8 series, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been struggling as of late. And they're, a better hitting team at home as well. So I like the Mariners to get it done in game 1 of the series tonight. So 2 ML plays that are pretty close to pick'ems. Red Sox ML on the road against the Rangers, and the Mariners at home against the Phillies.
I mean, I already talked about the Red Sox. You talked about, just, fading the bullpens as well for the Rangers. I talked about, just the Red Sox bats, even though they're away from home, they're still a top 5 against whether it's WRC, OPS, whatever, against right-handed pitching and Jose Urania. I think the Red Sox get to them early, so that's why I'm on the first 5. I do like the full game. You're just daring the Rangers bats to show up, and they've been super inconsistent. So I like that there, man. We talked about it earlier. I think for someone asked, why is everyone on the Mariners tonight? And we talked about how the Phillies, they've been struggling, just at all, especially against right-handed pitching. I think they're, bottom 5 in terms of WRC, OPS and everything against right-handed pitching. Their offense away from home. They're at a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I do like the Mariners as a lean, obviously. The one concern, obviously, you mentioned Tyler Phillips on the other side. He looks like a Cy Young right now, obviously. He just did a complete game shutout against the Cleveland Guardians. But, there is a point, some regression, obviously, going on the road in your first, not in your first, but obviously a road start away from home, late night against, a pretty good team that obviously they do struggle at the plate. But, since you mentioned the trade deadline, acquiring Rosarena and Turner, the Mariners have looked, a little bit better than they did, a week before that. We can definitely say that's for sure, as they steadily, mesh well, and obviously awaiting the, arrivals of J.P. Crawford and Julio Rodriguez eventually coming back into the lineup. I do lean the Mariners, obviously. You mentioned we don't like to, just take the Mariners every day because we're Mariner fans. We like to pick our spots, and I do like this spot here, just, fading the Phillies lineup that has been really anemic right now. And you mentioned they've lost 6 of the last 8 series. They can't really find some wins right now. So I do like the Mariners. You mentioned it. And then the Red Sox, I already talked about full game. I'm on the first 5, along with the Marlins, Braves over 8.5, and then the Dodgers and A's over 8.5 late night in Oakland. You can find all of these plays and, of course, our video on our Twitter below, AKP Sports Talk. But that's going to do it for this episode. We hope you guys have a great weekend, and we appreciate you guys so much for all the love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for AKP Sports Talk. That's Ari. I'm Korea. We'll be back on Monday for another episode. Win some money. Thank you guys so much. We will see you on Monday.